Hi there. Welcome back to Teachers Outreach. I am Vanan, your virtual tutor for this session. Today we are going to talk about executive function skills and why they are important for children's development. Each one of us depends on these functions to lead a happy and organized life. School is where our executive function skills are first tested and refined. They often unlock or preclude success in the classroom and in life. Today I will try to tell you concretely something about these functions, answering some questions.
Hello, I'm Demi. I would like to know more about improving executive functions and how that can help me with my students.
Sure, let me explain. As Professor Adele Diamond from British Columbia University explains, the executive functions refer to a group of mental processes that are needed when one must concentrate and pay attention, and these are key elements of learning. They are essential when it is not appropriate to rely on intuition or instinct. And many elements of our lives cannot uniquely depend on instinct, which is still very important. Learning, understanding, and then acting helps us to lead our life in the direction we want it to go.
Thank you, Vernon. Can you explain something more about these functions that are so important for our children?
Sure. There are three categories of executive functions. The first is inhibitory control, which includes attentional control and self-control. This group is very important to manage our emotions. The second category is working memory, which involves holding information in mind and working with it. These functions are important for learning new skills. Finally, there's cognitive flexibility, which involves switching between different mindsets and seeing the same thing from different perspectives. These skills allow us to adapt and find new solutions. From this, human beings build higher-order executive functions such as creative problem-solving, logical reasoning, and planning. It is this group of functions that enables us to build a different future.
Okay, if I understand correctly, when we teach in our schools, we should pay attention to emotions, memory, flexibility, and also planning. But could you give me some other examples of how these functions can be useful in our daily lives?
Yes, let's start with inhibitory control. For instance, when someone hurts our feelings, we might want to retaliate and hurt them back. However, we can use self-control to resist that tendency and avoid getting into a cycle of negative behavior. Similarly, we can use self-control to avoid saying or doing things that might hurt others' feelings or embarrass us.
So you are now telling us that we can learn to manage our emotions. But I still have a question. What more precisely is cognitive flexibility?
Cognitive flexibility can help us focus on similarities rather than differences. Instead of dwelling on opposing political views, for example, we can focus on the fact that we all want the best for our children. We can also use cognitive flexibility to admit that we were wrong and someone else was right. This is especially important for creating peaceful relationships with others.
That's so helpful. What about working memory?
Working memory helps us hold information in mind and work with it. For example, if a student is struggling to grasp a concept, we can use working memory to present the material in different ways and see what works best. Working memory can also help us remember what we need to do and plan accordingly.
Okay. Now can you help me to understand how I can train executive functions and maintain peace within myself? I think this can be useful when I am in the classroom.
Executive functions can help us control our emotions and avoid getting upset over things that might not be worth it. For example, if we get alarmed over something that turns out to be harmless, we can use executive functions to calm ourselves down and stop our amygdala from reacting. This is especially important for maintaining peace within ourselves and avoiding unnecessary stress. The work proposed in Making Silence is a good technique for training in this direction.
That's really helpful. Are there any other ways that training executive functions can help us?
Absolutely. Executive functions can help us focus on the present moment and enjoy life as it is. They can also help us reframe our thinking when dealing with difficult situations. For example, instead of getting upset when a child misbehaves, we can use cognitive flexibility to consider the child's perspective and try to understand why they might be acting out.
Thank you so much for your help. I think I have a better understanding of executive functions, and I also know how I can train myself.
You're welcome. We have finished for today and wishing everyone a good day. I greet you and look forward to the next content. Remember that executive functions are essential for success in many areas of life, so it's important to develop and strengthen them whenever possible. Within ourselves, before in others.